Hey, it's Deborah from Create with Compassion. I'm excited to share with you the creation of this adorable, quick and easy treat holder. Here it is in sweet berry cardstock. It holds two of the fun size M&M packs, and now I'm wondering if it would also hold the fun size packs of Skittles because I was shocked to learn that not everybody loves chocolate. There are some who prefer Skittles over M&Ms. So if you make one of these and you test it out with the Skittles, please let me know. I'll probably pick up some of the fun size Skittles and try to make a note in the description of the video and let you know if it does. But I would imagine they're about the same size. So you can make two of these treat holders with one sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and I'm going to share with you kind of how to mass produce it. You can also just make one, and I will give you the measurements for that as well. So to make your mass produce this, you would figure out how many you need. So say you need 20, divide that by 2, and you'll need 10 sheets of cardstock. You would then take all of your cardstock, and you can use any colors. This is Beach Ball cardstock from Fun Stamper's Journey. And so you would take your cardstock and trim it to 10 and 1/4 by 7 and 7/8. If you're just making one, then you would trim it 5 and 1/8 by 7 and 7/8. Once you have trimmed that, you can put your scoring blade into your trimmer. It has just a nice, very thin, soft, rounded piece of metal in there, and it stays really nice. You'll get a nice straight line. If you have the new FSJ scoreboard or any scoreboard, that would work well too. I'm very excited that mine is on its way. I ordered it recently. Can't wait to make some projects with that. So we're going to start with the 7 and 7/8 side up at the top, and our first score line will be at 3 inches. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to slide on over to 3 and 3/4, like so. Now you can slide on more and score at 6 and 3/4 and then 7.5, but I tend to be kind of a lazy crafter. You can just press this button and that pops out your line, and you can, measure, not measure, but line it up with your measurements there. I tend to, for some reason, have more issue with that. I don't know why. So if you want to do that, you can. Or here's a little trick that I do. I just slide it on over so that this edge on the right side of my score line or cutting track is at 1 and 1/8. And then I will score that, and then I'm going to slide it more to the left so that my edge is at 3/8 of an inch. Now if you are, like I said, using a scoreboard or something, or you just keep going over, you would do 3 and 3/4. Sorry, it would be 3 inches, 3 and 3/4, 6 and 3/4, and then 7.5. Or you can do it as I did, 3 inches, 3 and 3/4, slide it so that this side here is 1 and 1/8, and then 3/8. Then we're going to turn our paper 90 degrees so that the 10 and 1/4 inch is up at the top, or if you're doing just one, 5 and 1/8 is up at the top. And we are going to score first at 3/4. Now I have trouble lining it up here, which is actually, you can do it, but it's just kind of awkward for me. And so what I like to do, if you're using a scoreboard, it's a lot easier just to do, all of your scoring. But if I'm using my trimmer, I tend to line up my 3/4 here on this side, score it, and then I'll just turn my paper 180 degrees so that my 3/4 is over here on the left side. And then let's put that to 4 and 1/4, score that, and then slide over to 4 and 3/4. Now if you have the 5 and 1/8 inch size piece of paper, that's all the scoring you need to do. But if you're making multiples and you have your 10 and 1/4 inch piece up at the top, slide on over so that you get this edge here on the right side to 3/4 of an inch. Then you're just going to go 180, and we're going to do the same measurements, 4 1/4, and then 4 3/4. Now if you're using a scoreboard, then you can just if you're using the scoreboard and you have your paper, and the measurements of that would be 3/4, 4 1/4, 4 3/4, 5 1/2, 6, and then 9 1/2. Okay, so that is all of the scoring that we need to do, but we need to trim this piece in half so that we can make 2 treat boxes or holders. So we're going to put in our cutting blade here, which is the green one, and we're going to line this piece of cardstock up to 5 1/8, which should be right there in the center of those 2 middle score lines, and just trim that, and you now have 2 pieces that are equal in size. So we're going to move that off to the side, and we are just going to create one. So I would do all of the scoring, all of the trimming, and get all of my pieces to this stage before moving on to anything else. Now this treat box that I did, I wanted it to be easy and quick, because if I'm making a lot, I need something easy and quick. You could easily do white embossing for this, but that's just an extra step. It would pop more. I kind of like the chalk look on this, and so I used this beautiful AT set, UR is what it's called, and some whipped cream pigment ink. And this does take a little longer to dry, so you would want to stamp it and then set it aside to dry for a little bit, or you could use your heat tool, but if you're going to use your heat tool, you might as well white emboss it. So what I'm going to do, I find it easier for me to go ahead and stamp it now before I fold it, because it will lay flatter. Once I fold it, it gets kind of it has a little lift to it, and you can see the score lines. Now this is going to be my front panel, because when you, here I have this here, when you fold it up, this has smooth edges. You're not going to have that seam there. So this right here is my front panel, so that's where I'm going to stamp. You could stamp it on front and back if you wanted to. You know, you could, but this is going to be my front panel, and this stamp fits perfectly on here, and you just do your best to kind of center it side to side. So let's ink up. You are amazing, brilliant, no, you are amazing, beautiful, remarkable, brilliant, and loved. And I do have creatures that live in my house, so I always have to check my stamps to see if a little hair got on it. Now you may see my head, and I apologize for that, but when you're doing this, you really want to get directly over. I do have my stamp lined up with the grid, so I know that these grids are actually going to help me get this lined up. I can kind of try to line up my grids with my score lines. So pardon the head, but I want to get this lined up well. I'm actually going to bring it in a little bit there, and I'm going to do my best to center it side to side, pressing down. This is a good size stamp, so I want to press all over it, have that good contact. And there it is. It is just so beautiful. Set that off to the side. Actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to clean it real quick. So I use the True Color Fusion cleaner, even on my pigments. I just spritz a little bit on a lint-free rag, and then take that wet spot and just rub it all over my stamp. I find it cleans so much better, and it also conditions this red rubber, so it will help my stamps be usable for a long time, because I mean, who doesn't want to share this message for years to come as they meet people and want to share some love and compassion. So I'm actually going to set this one aside. If you were doing a bunch, like I said, you would stamp them, and just be careful. You don't want to stack a bunch on top of each other and have them smeared. So I will set that one aside and bring in one that I've already stamped and dried, and we're going to go ahead and start putting this together. Some people like to cut first and then fold. I like to fold first and then cut. It makes it, that's just my way. I don't like having to fold up lots of little like tabs and stuff. So you're just going to fold along your score lines here. And that does not look quite even to me, but I guess it is. Sometimes your eyes can be tricked. Okay. And then I'm going to actually score these next on that score line there. And I'm using my crease tool. I want good sharp corners, so that crease tool helps to get that cardstock nicely folded. Making sure my scoring is straight, using my cardstock as a guide. There we go. Lining that up. This little flap here is what's going to help hold the box together, which this way of putting the box together I found was the best use of my cardstock. I always like to, because there's usually more than one way to fold a box. You can fold it up or you can fold it around to the side. So this one was the best use of cardstock. So we've got just a couple more score lines. Sometimes I have trouble with certain sounds. I had a speech impediment growing up as a kid. I guess I still do. Now this top score line, I'm actually going to go the opposite way. It's not a true milk carton type, but it does kind of remind me of the milk carton style. So I just want to fold this one the opposite direction here. Alright, so we've got everything folded. Now we're going to do some trimming, which let's see here. We got our scissors. Now this is going to be a little tab that gets adhesive. So hopefully you can see this. I'm going to cut kind of at an angle in towards this corner, and then I'm going to cut kind of at an angle to that corner and remove this piece. And when you cut it at an angle, it just helps when you fold it in that everything lines up a little bit neater. There's less stuff to worry about along the edge. So this one is cut at an angle. This is going to be a little tab, and then at this one we're going to cut straight along that score line, because this is going to be the bottom flap that will be noticed. So you want to cut that straight along there. Then going over to this score line, going to cut that straight, and then on this little piece here, cut at an angle. Then we're going to cut straight up this score line and then add a little angle there. So we have two little tabs, and that's all the cutting for that portion. Going to turn it around so we're up here at the top, and this piece is going to be removed completely. And you can kind of bend it if you want, help you get that line there to cut. So we're going to cut all the way. We have one score line, second score line, cut all the way to that second score line, and we're going to cut along this line as well, the second score line, and then we're going to remove this little piece completely. There we go. Then coming to the other side, we're going to cut straight down this line here, and then we're going to come over to this little, we've got the one score line, second score line, kind of go in at an angle on this little flap, and then you can just cut straight along that score line, and there you go. So that is all of the cutting that is needed. Now I would do that to all of my pieces that I am creating, just going step by step for everything. Then let's get some adhesive here. I've got the white liner tape. You just need 2 pieces. We're going to put a piece on this little flap here on the same side that we stamped. There we go. And then we're going to put another piece of adhesive on the bottom flap. Now, when you're folding it, you want this bottom flap to be your last one that you fold, because that looks nicer than having the back one come up to the front. You'll see here, you can kind of see that seam or whatever. So it just looks nice when it's just, this whole front is just smooth wrapping all around. So you want to turn that over and put the adhesive on the back side there. And that is all the adhesive that you need. M&M's, Skittles, they're not real heavy. So I'm just gonna get rid of any little air bubbles. And now it's time to put this together. So we're just gonna remove the liner from this adhesive on this little strip, kind of fold it down, and we're just gonna line up this corner here with this corner here. And just, let's see, hopefully line that up and so that the edge of your cardstock meets the edge of that box. And there you go. You can press that down, slide your crease tool in there, press that down, and then, well, you can see I didn't get real centered side to side, but that's okay. This is not about perfection. This is about compassion and sharing a smile and love with another. So you're going to fold those 2 flaps in, fold your back flap down, peel off that white liner on your tape. You want to try to make sure that your box is squared up. So as you're pressing that down, line up your edges on one side, and if you get one side lined up, check your other side, and that's all you need to do there. Put a little pressure down in there and your box is created. And you could put a small strip of washi tape or something if you'd like. And you can also, if it helps you, oh goodness, I think I did really good on this one. I really worked hard. And let me just show you really quick. Sorry for the interruption, but I think I'm really proud of myself. Look at how, wow, that is like spot on, I think, centered side to side. I mean, it's definitely an improvement. Very good. The more you do it, the probably better you'll get at stamping it. But you can, if you wanted to, get like a piece of paper and just place it there, along the edges, and then that would help you see better exactly what you're trying to centering it in. So that's a little tip that I think would help. I think it would help. So anyway, so we've got our little M&Ms in there, and I've got these adorable paper clip elements, and I had one out somewhere. Here we go, right here. And then this one I used the Sweet Berry crimp ribbon, which is just gorgeous. It's actually got, I don't know if you can see it, it's actually got 2 colors, sweet berry in it, and I want to say cranapple red or something like that. So just beautiful, beautiful ribbon. If you would like a sample, because you cannot see it in the video how beautiful it is, so if you would like a sample of this ribbon, or even of the special day organza ribbon that I'll be using for this one, just send me an email at deborah@createwithcompassion.com. Let me know you'd like a little sample of this ribbon and give me your address, and I will pop it in the mail to you. And this is an offer available for anyone, even my fellow FSJ coaches. If you don't happen to have this ribbon and you'd like to get a look at it and feel of it, just let me know. I'm willing to share a little bit of sample with you. So I've got the special day organza ribbon, and I'm just going to trim off a piece of that and thread that into my paper clip here. You could just do the paper clip, but I felt like it was just missing a little something. Needed a little something special to dress it up a little bit more. I've got some of the whipped cream thread, and you could tie a bow. I'm just going to tie a knot, but you could definitely adhere your thread ribbon to your paper clip with a bow. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to put my ribbon down. For the sweet berry, I did use a glue dot to kind of secure it on there, but for this I didn't want my glue dot to show, so I'm just going to hold my finger down on top of it and then do my best to tie a knot here, which I don't know about you, but I always feel so awkward doing this especially on camera. So I'm just going to kind of tie that and bring it down some, move it around, pull it a little tighter. You're just going to have to kind of play with it until you kind of get it the way you want. And then I did double tie it just to make sure that it stayed tight good. There we go. And then just trim your thread. And I like to actually trim my ribbon with the bigger shears, the bigger scissors. So there we go. And then you just take that. I like to put the smaller part of the paper clip onto the box, and there you go. That is the adorable little treat holder. Really not too bad. They're pretty quick to make, and it's really a simple design, but it's just so cute. Sure to bring a smile to someone's face. I love it. You are amazing, beautiful, remarkable, brilliant, and loved. So thank you so much for joining me. You can get more details about it over on my blog, createwithcompassion.com. There'll be a link for this specific post in the description below the video. I'm also fairly active on Facebook. If you want to check out my Facebook page, Create with Compassion, I do a few lives and such. And there's also a challenge over there right now. This is October 5. So I have a challenge. On Tuesday, Kim Kesty shared a tutorial in her T3 series of using whipped cream ink to create the technique was called the velveteen technique. So currently over on my Facebook page is a challenge for that technique, and it runs through October 31, and there is a chance to win a prize. So check that out if you would like to participate. I plan on participating myself, and we'll share that when I get my project created. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you have an awesome day and create with compassion. Bye.